spoke a lot about Gen AI, in this conference. So when it comes to the applicability aspect of it, how is generative AI making an impact across industries like healthcare, finance, and manufacturing, to name a few, banking?
Yeah. Wow, that's definitely a few. So yeah, healthcare is something I'm really excited about because generative AI helps in terms of exposing healthcare professionals to massive amounts of data that they would not have access to in several lifetimes of medical practice. So it allows any type of healthcare professional to ideally reach a diagnosis far more quickly than you could, and that's going to lead to better patient safety. Better early detection. Right? These are incredible. I think one of my favorite stats is around breast cancer screening, where we've seen AI-assisted screenings can be 30% more accurate, and that's a huge number, right? So that's a good example in healthcare. I think in manufacturing, we're seeing a lot around worker safety is a good use case there. We're seeing early detection and maintenance, so having more proactive maintenance and understanding that a system failure is about to occur. Banking, of course, banking's been involved in data analytics for so long, and they're getting smarter around things like fraud detection, which I think helps. Document and loan processing are all areas that benefit from AI. It's really all walks of life. I think you're seeing differences. Even my older children in school and college, their professors are encouraging them to use generative AI tools with their assignments because they see it as what it is. It's going to be a tool that they're going to use professionally, and it's good for them while in school to learn how to effectively use the tools.
From a VMware point of view, which industry vertical is most optimistic according to you about adoption of generative AI, and what have you been witnessing?
Yeah, I would say we're working across so many verticals. I'd say in the code development use case, that's practically any vertical, certainly in the tech sector, but we're seeing it in manufacturing, we're seeing it in lots of places. So that's been real positive. Like I've already mentioned, you're seeing these incredible early wins in healthcare, which I think is super exciting. And again, doctors want to find what's wrong with their patients, right? So if they can do that more effectively, I think that's fantastic. Retail, one of my favorite use cases is using computer vision to see that to understand that a customer is struggling to find what they need. So if you can just have the human then come and know which customers to engage with to help them, that helps to drive sales, and that's a positive too.
The generative AI solutions by VMware and the private AI, there's been a lot of excitement. However, on the flip side, what are the primary challenges that industries usually face when adopting these AI technologies, and how are you sort of planning to help them with these hurdles?
Yeah, I think the challenges are areas such as lack of skill set, lack of understanding in terms of how attainable some of these AI use cases are. There's this assumption, and I answered a question about it today, that well, how can you possibly do AI like on premises when you need like 2,000 GPUs? And it's like, well, actually you don't. We have use cases where we're using 2 GPUs and across hundreds of users, and it's been fantastic. So there's some of the barriers are education, and what is VMware doing about it? We're creating a lot of IP based on our own learnings running these AI use cases internally, and we're sharing this just globally for anybody to have access to. So the education part I think is really important. And then another barrier is really, I would say there's in some cases it's fear of making the wrong decision. And what we see there is organizations saying, let me, I'm going to wait because these things are moving so fast I don't want to make the wrong choice. And that's why, like VMware, we deliberately said, we're going to future-proof our approach by just giving you a private AI infrastructure. So if something new comes along, it's a software update, not a big deal. You don't have to have fear of betting wrong. There's other ways to approach the problem.
Speaking about private AI, right? Privacy and security, again, it's a significant challenge. So I'm sure you have that sorted with the private AI. On the flip side, isn't AI totally reliant on the data? So there are concerns in the industry of these data security laws being counterproductive to all the good work happening on Gen AI and things like that. What are your views on this?
Yeah, I don't think they're counterproductive. They may be counterproductive to some business models out there, but the VMware private AI architecture is about bringing the AI model and the compute to wherever the data needs to be. So it doesn't have to be one of the same. It's you can meet customers, you can meet industries on their terms, and that's what we're working to do. I don't think you have to argue against regulation. I think the intention of regulation is good. It's to protect people and protect their privacy and confidentiality of their data.
How do you see the future of Gen AI adoption evolving, and what are the potential long-term impacts on the workforce and the economic landscape across industries?
Great question. I mean, there's always going to be shifts in industries, right? That happens. So you look at the energy sector today, and there's less coal miners, but there's tens of thousands of jobs in solar production and wind energy and other alternative energy sources. So there's technology has always historically created shifts in jobs, and we're just going through another shift. People will learn to use these tools, and they're going to be productive in ways that they didn't know they could. And then ultimately, as any type of business professional, we spend a lot of time in the offices. So if AI can allow us to complete our work faster and have a better work-life balance, I'm all for it. I think that's a great thing. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a challenge, and really what's happened to happen is the hardware industry is having to catch up to the demand. So you have NVIDIA with massive backlogs to ship their GPUs, and now you have companies like Intel and AMD really ramping up production of CPUs and their own GPU lines in support of this. So the production is going to start to catch up to the demand. And from VMware's perspective, we're all about choice. So what we're saying is, again, if you make the investment in a virtual infrastructure, you're going to have optionality to use whatever hardware you need to now and in the future. So that's going to give you more choices by making that virtual infrastructure investment today.
So finally, what advice do you have for organizations and businesses that are looking to embrace generative AI in their respective industries? And what steps should they take to ensure a smooth and responsible transition?
Yeah, I would say, there's a lot that you can do. I would focus on one quick win. Like, look at one use case that can benefit and deploy that, and then learn from it. You don't have to try to apply AI to everything. If you think about the early days of blockchain, there was so much hype around blockchain that every use case was like, oh, we should use blockchain for this. And it's like, well, actually, you just need a database. You don't need all of this other stuff, right? And it's similar for AI in that we have to be selective. So code development, content development for sales and marketing, right? These are great use cases. A chatbot to have better and more intelligent customer service and customer support, right? Really good use cases there. Being able to have consistency in sales contracts and legal contracts. Generative AI can help there too. So these are all things that organizations can target. And then second, like for VMware, start of the year, we formed an AI governance council. So we have not just technology represented, but we have our head of legal, we have our chief information security officer, we have marketing, we have all of our different lines of business that are a part of this AI council, and that's making decisions in terms of how do we have appropriate guardrails for the company. And then now our company employees, they know what the guidelines are in terms of how they can use AI, and then there's also an exception process. So if something isn't captured in our guidelines, then they can bring that to the council and we can review it and then make the right decision and then update guidelines as we go forward. So having that cross-company governance is really important to do AI safely. You want to get the CISO involved, you certainly want to get legal involved. Even though they're likely to say no a lot of times, that's a good thing. That's really protecting the company at the end of the day.
Thank you so much, Chris. It was a pleasure talking to you guys. Is there anything that I may have missed out on asking which you would like to add before we finish?
I'd say it's just really a summary of some things I've already said is, look for AI platforms that provide choice, because the space is moving too quick to try to just feel the pressure to make a decision on one software stack as an example. So optionality, we think, is really key. And then second, really start to pay attention to the smaller models and the traction that's happening there, because we really think that's a huge part of the future, is small models that are tuned to particular business processes. We think they're going to be fairly ubiquitous going forward, and in an area that's absolutely worth watching.
All right. Thank you so much, Chris. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks for the time.
Yeah.